She said she put me to bed, but my clothes were missing. That's when I realized the truth. I woke with a headache sharp enough to cut through bone. The kind of pain that doesn't come from drinking. The kind that comes from a night someone else remembers for you. The curtains were half closed, letting in a ribbon of gray morning light that sliced across the room like a surgical blade. My room, but not how I left it. The sheets were twisted. The air smelled wrong, perfume that wasn't hers, and cigarettes that weren't mine. And my clothes? Gone. Not on the floor, not on the chair, not anywhere. Just skin, bare, vulnerable in a room that used to feel like mine. I sat up slowly, the ache behind my eyes deepening, thick as fog, heavy as guilt I hadn't earned. The door creaked. She stood there, hair messy, eyes wary, hands fidgeting with the hem of her oversized t-shirt. "You're awake," she whispered. Her voice felt rehearsed, strained, as if she had practiced how to sound concerned. "I should be," I said. "It's morning." She stepped in, didn't meet my eyes, didn't walk close. "You don't remember anything from last night?" she asked. The question didn't feel innocent. It felt like a test, a trap disguised as concern. "I remember coming home," I said slowly, "and then—" "Nothing." She nodded, too quickly. "I put you into bed," she said. "You were tired, drunk, you could barely stand." I stared. I wasn't drinking. Her mouth twitched, just barely, but I saw it. A crack. Small, but deep enough to show something was underneath. Something dark. She forced a smile. "Guess it hit you harder than usual." I looked down at my bare skin again, then up at her. "Where are my clothes?" My voice was calm. Too calm. She froze. And in that tiny hesitation, barely a heartbeat, I felt the world break open beneath me. Something had happened, something she didn't want me to know. And that was the moment, the exact second, my trust in her took its last breath. I dressed in silence after she brought my clothes, folded neatly, unnaturally neat, like she was hiding fingerprints. "Found them in the laundry basket," she said. A lie. I didn't need to smell them to know they hadn't been washed. I didn't need to look at her to know she was scared. She hovered near the door as I buttoned my shirt, as if she didn't want to step too close, as if she didn't want me to look too closely. I studied her, quietly, calculating. Her mascara was smudged at the corners, her hair was tangled, not the way it gets after a night of sleep, but the way it gets after fingers run through it again and again. I remembered coming home. She wasn't there. I remembered the time, 11:48 p.m. She said she was visiting her cousin, except the cousin posted a story at a restaurant with friends, without her, a detail she didn't know I knew. Another crack. "Did you check on me during the night?" I asked casually. Her throat bobbed. Of course. I nodded, pretending to accept the answer. But her wrists had faint red marks, and the perfume in the room wasn't hers. And my clothes, missing, then magically found, were a message written in silence. A message I hadn't deciphered yet. But betrayal speaks its own language. And I was starting to understand every word. For the next few days, I played the role she expected. Calm, forgiving, forgetful. Inside, I was sharpening every thought into a blade. I replayed every moment from that night, every detail she tried to bury, every shift in her tone, every twitch in her fingers, every breath she took when she thought I wasn't looking. Infidelity is rarely loud. It's a whisper, a pause, a missing piece that should have been there. I didn't accuse her. I didn't question her story again. I didn't give her a reason to tighten the locks on her lies. I let her feel safe. Meanwhile, I traced the timeline. Phone records, location tags, receipts she forgot to delete. She came home at 2:17 a.m. that night, but she claimed it was 11:50 p.m. Another crack. She wasn't alone. Camera footage from the street caught her walking with someone, a man, taller than me, hoodie pulled low, head close to hers. They entered the building. He didn't leave for 27 minutes. 27 minutes she couldn't account for. I didn't react. Not yet. I collected everything quietly. Screenshots, photos, timestamps, and the final piece, the drink. I found the bottle behind the kitchen trash bag. Half filled, clear liquid, no label. Not ours. Not something we ever bought. It smelled faintly of lemon and chemicals. I didn't need a lab to tell me what she mixed into my glass. But I tested it anyway, at a private clinic. Sedative traces, the report said. A calm, steady confirmation of the nightmare I already knew I was living. She hadn't just betrayed me. She had non-storm I carried inside me. She was cooking when I walked in. The smell of spices filled the kitchen, fake and warm, like the life she tried to keep intact. Dinner will be ready in... I placed the report on the table. She went silent mid-sentence. Her eyes crawled over the paper slowly, a tremor beginning in her fingertips. What is this? Your mistake, I said softly. She read it, line by line, her breath quickening. Sedative detected. High trace levels. Consumption time estimate, midnight. Her voice cracked. This isn't, you're misunderstanding. I slid my phone across the table. Street camera footage. Clear enough to show the outline of the man. Her entering the building with him. Timestamps that cut through her lies like a blade. She dropped the phone. It's not, I can explain. You don't need to, I said. I already knew everything. Everything she thought she could hide. Everything she thought would stay buried under sedation and shadows. Her knees buckled, but she held on to the counter. Tears formed. Real or rehearsed, I didn't care. Please, just listen. But listening was what got me here. Now it was her turn to drown in silence. I didn't yell. I didn't break things. I didn't ask why, because betrayal never has a reason worth hearing. I simply handed her a second envelope. She hesitated. What is this? My answer, I said. She opened it with shaking hands. Inside were photos, time logs, screenshots, her messages to him, the ones she thought she deleted, restored through a cloud backup she forgot she shared with me. And at the bottom, a printed copy of her own words to him. I'll take care of him, just give me 20 minutes. I watched the color drain from her face. You planned it, I said quietly. You drugged me so you could bring him here. She collapsed onto the chair. I made a mistake. No, I corrected. You made a choice. I walked around the table, every step measured, slow. She looked up at me as if I were a stranger. Maybe I was. Because whatever part of me once loved her had died the moment I woke up naked in my own bed with a memory she tried to rewrite. I leaned close, my voice low, steady. You should know something. She held her breath. I remembered one thing from that night, I whispered. Her eyes widened. What? You said my name, I said, but not to me. She broke. A sob escaped her throat, sharp and ugly and raw. Please, please don't leave. I can fix this. You already did, I said. I placed a final document on the table. Printed, signed, termination of the lease, my departure, her future, alone. I'm not destroying you, I told her. I'm simply returning what you handed me. Her tears hit the table. I walked to the door. And this time, she was the one left bare. The night felt colder when I stepped outside, the kind of cold that clears the mind. I didn't look back at the building, at the window we once shared, at the life she burned down with her own hands. I didn't need to. Some betrayals don't deserve a final glance. As I walked, the weight on my chest lifted, not suddenly, but evenly, like a storm passing without apology. I wasn't angry anymore. Anger is a chain. and she had no chains left on me. When I reached the end of the street, I stopped, breathed, felt the world settle again, real and solid beneath my feet. I realized something simple, quiet, truthful. She never put me to bed that night. She buried herself. I just woke up sooner than she expected. And as I walked away from the life she poisoned, one final thought echoed through me, sharp and clean. Some truths don't free you. They simply show you who deserves to lose you. And she did. Forever.
How could you do this?